Okay guys, so one last piece of the puzzle for us to be able to broadcast our notifications in real time is actually listening to the events that are broadcast from pusher to our front end. So we're going to be using Echo and Vuejs for this. So it seems like we're going to need another view component. So let's go ahead and create a new view component in our assets.js components directory. Right here, I'm just going to call the component notification.view. And in the notification.view, it's gonna have its own template, and I'll just go ahead and put a div right there so that Vuejs doesn't disturb. And script, and we'll export by default an object, and this object would have a mounted method. So right here in our mounted, as soon as the component is mounted, we're gonna call a method, and this method will be called listen. And what this method is going to do is actually initialize Echo and begin to call the methods on Echo that are going to listen for notifications on that channel. So right down here, we'll define our methods. And the first method there obviously will be the listen method. And on this listen method, we'll call Echo. And since we are broadcasting to a private channel, we'll say echo.private. And in this private, we're going to pass in a parameter, and this parameter will be the name of the channel we are listening to. So app.user dot, and we're gonna concatenate the ID of the user right here. Now this ID would be the ID of the authenticated user at that time. So what we're gonna do is actually get the authenticated user using props, and this prop right here will be ID. So once we mount this notification, we'll pass in a prop, and that prop will be the authenticated user's ID. Now you can always send an AJAX request to your server and just return the authenticated user's ID, but I think props actually is faster for performance. So right here, after calling the private method, we'll call the notification method, which is simply a method in pusher that will help us to catch specifically notifications. So right here, we'll take in the notification, and in our callback, we'll just go ahead and alert new notification. And after alerting the notification, let's just console.log the results so we see what we have. So console.log notification. Okay, so right now our pusher is set. So let's go ahead and mount this component in our app.blade.php file so that it will be available to all views. But before that, just before we proceed, let's not forget to register the component. So right here, I'll just call it notification, and right here I'll say notification.view. Okay, so in our app.blade.php, right after the content that is yielded, I'll just go ahead and call notification, and this is going to receive a prop like we decided, and this prop is going to be the ID, and we're going to bind it to the authenticated user's ID. So auth user's ID. So this should work. Let's go ahead and run gulp to compile everything. So gulp, watch. Okay, so let's inspect that, and if everything goes well on our instance of Vue, we should have a notification. Okay, that's it, and it's passing it. Okay, so what we have to actually check is if our method right here using in Echo is actually making an AJAX request to our server, because remember, when we try to listen on a private channel, automatically pusher makes an AJAX request to our route, which is the broadcasting/auth. And once it makes that AJAX request is received right here in our broadcasting service provider, and it cross-checks if the authenticated user is the ID of the user we are passing right here. So if that authenticated user at the server is the one trying to listen to this channel, then everything goes smoothly. So first of all, just to debug our pusher application, in our bootstrap.js, we're gonna output pushers.log. So pusher.log is going to be equals to a function, and this function will take in the message that pusher is logging, and right here we'll just console.log that message.
So we see what is going on with pusher. And now I'm putting it immediately after this because as soon as we initialize echo automatically initializes an instance of pusher. So if you put it above here, it'll tell you pusher is not recognized. Okay, so I think that should be able to debug. If we refresh, okay, now we see the data that is coming out from the pusher.log. So let's go ahead and look at this data. So state changed, connecting, connected. So it connects to a socket ID, then event sent to subscribe. So this is an event sent to subscribe. If we go ahead to our network, we discover we have an auth request. If we preview this request, it has a response that has been sent back from our server. So if we go ahead and check where this request was sent to, it was sent to the broadcasting/auth route, and this route is registered right here in our broadcasting service provider. So right here in our broadcasting service provider, it's registered. So pusher makes a request right here, so it event send, so it makes a request to subscribe. Once it makes that request and we are successfully subscribed, so it means we responded with this auth parameter from our server, meaning it was successful and we are supposed to be subscribed to that channel. Then pusher just checks if there's a callback for an event that is broadcast when there is a successful subscription to a channel. So subscription succeeded. So any broadcast we make to this channel, this user would be able to listen. So since this is my profile, if I go ahead to Emily's profile and I broadcast a notification, then we should be able to see that. So what we can actually do is test out if our Vuejs component is actually listening to notifications. So we'll go to our pusher dashboard for our application, and right here we have a show event creator, and we're going to create an event and broadcast to this channel and see if this user is actually listening to this channel for events. So we'll go ahead and change this, and remember it's a private channel, and by default we prefix all private channels with a private keyword. So app.user.1, which is the ID of this user, which was passed by a prop. Okay, so app.user.1, and the event is going to be called maybe new notification, and right here the payload is going to be name John message hello. So let's send a request. Event sent successfully, so it's registered. If we go ahead to our application without refreshing the page, we discover that we have a new event right here. So this is the name of the event new notification, and the name is John and the message is hello. So pusher actually received that message to our channel.